And I think we're rolling.
You're listening to the Level Best Network.
This is the INTERCOT Insider Live, episode 158. The INTERCOT Insider Live is brought to you by Magical Journeys, INTERCOT's official travel partner and the Disney experts. Please give Nancy and friends a call over at Magical Journeys to plan your next vacation, be it at Disney, Universal, Disneyland, you name it, cruise. Let's see. Where else? Where else do you guys want to go this year? You know, I mean,
Adventures by Disney. Let's do that.
true, but it doesn't. My point is, it doesn't even have to be just Disney. It can be anywhere you want to go.
Okay.
Magical Journeys can take you there. Of course, they specialize in Disney, but Nancy and crew will take care of you. And tell them INTERCOT sent you. Hey, with me tonight from Sam's Disney Diary, we've got Sam. Hi, Sam.
Hey, what's up, John? Thanks so much for having me. This is awesome. Can't wait to talk a little light cycle run.
Yes, indeed. And also from INTERCOT, longtime INTERCOT contributor and my right-hand dude, Ian Mitchell. Hey, Ian.
How are you tonight, John?
Good. He's the
Doing well.
Stadler to my Waldorf, or the Waldorf to my
To
Stadler.
my Stadler. Yeah, I can never figure out which one.
Yeah, we're never really sure who's who.
Sometimes we change roles, you know.
Exactly. But
We can't, you old fool. We're bolted to the seats.
Indeed. Y'all will have to forgive me right off the bat. My voice is a little bit shot tonight, so a little, what do they call that? What is that when vocal fry? Got a little vocal fry going on. That's right.
Vocal fry, or was it a little screaming and
Perhaps it was a
shouting
little
when
too
you
much
saw Tron himself and just went out of your mind?
Shouting at Bruce Boxleitner.
Exactly.
So, in case you were curious, we are going to be going over Tron Light Cycle Run, the grand opening for media, at least, only a few days ago, literally Tuesday.
Just a few days ago.
Well, I don't know if you saw the
Ba-dum-bum.
update, but the opening is tomorrow now.
No. Soft opening
Well, soft
might
opening,
be
but
tomorrow to April 3rd. Put it in quotes because don't count on it.
Right.
If you get there, you're lucky. That's awesome. But I would not go if you think you're going for that reason until.
well,
after
you got to
April
get in the
4th.
virtual queue. So if the virtual queue
Not
is
for
available-
soft opening. There's no virtual queue.
Are you
It's
sure about
just
that?
show up and hope things happen. If I'm wrong, I'd love to know differently.
Well, I noticed that they had added
Check
the
with mine.
virtual queue to the My Disney.
That's been there a
Experience
little
app.
while. Yes.
But and you know, I don't know. I'm not sure how that exactly works with it, but
No, me neither. But anyway,
I can
may-
tell you though, it is going to be in soft openings, which is good for those who are showing up a little bit early, a little bit before the official opening
Yeah,
date on April 4th.
It's good, John, because it tells me that things are going well from a system point of view, right? They build the extra time in just in case they need to tweak something, but maybe they don't. That's awesome. Love it.
Well, I mean, as we were at the media event over, a course of a few days and got to ride it, I can tell you, I didn't notice any hiccups, really.
No.
It didn't go down, and as far as I know. I mean, it
No,
seemed to run the
not at all.
entire day, and I never saw any downtime or even really like, when we were on it. Sometimes you get that like unexpected stop where you just kind of sit there for a while. Even that didn't really happen.
Yeah.
Be running
well,
very, very smoothly. So
that was the one thing that we did note, that it was operating like an attraction that's been around for about a decade or whatever.
yeah. Well,
How
then
long
again,
is-
how
how
long's it
long-
been in Shanghai?
Yeah, that's what I was wondering. How long has it been around now? So
A little while.
yeah, a little while. But indeed, so all three of us were at the media event. The what did they call it? All the Disney thrills.
All the Disney
Hashtag all
I'm sorry,
the
I forget
Disney
my
thrills.
hashtag.
Cat
Sorry.
is what it is.
Oh,
Just saying.
Sorry about that. Yeah, and so that was what it was titled, and I think the idea behind what Disney is doing was to try and highlight the thrilling things that they have at the parks, and of course, the latest of those being the Tron Light Cycle Run.
Well, even for someone that hasn't been there in a year or so,
Yeah.
they've not experienced Guardians of the Galaxy or Tron.
Tron.
And I
Yeah,
mean,
I was
those
thinking
are
that.
two e-ticket coasters that Walt Disney World's added in the last 12, 13 months. That's huge when you think about it in the grand scheme of Disney World.
And both of them individually are, sort of now like I mean, Rock and Roller Coaster's fun, but both of them, in my humble opinion, blow Rock and Roller Coaster out of the water. So not only did they add two really great e-ticket rides, but they're among the, well, I personally think Guardians is the best ride on the resort, and Tron, is an experience, which we'll dig into, I'm sure.
Right. Absolutely a plussing of Space Mountain, right? Because if you
sure.
look at it as an evolution, if the Rock and Roller Coaster plus Space Mountain, these two both plus Rock and Roller Coaster in different ways, which is what's so cool about it.
Although my dad would argue with you, Sam, and just say that Guardians is Space Mountain 2.0. That's what
it'd be 3.0, not 2.
Yeah, I'd have to agree there. I think it's more like it's more than one evolution beyond Space Mountain.
Right.
No, I would agree. Maybe 3.0.
But look, at the end of the day, they're both big buildings with a roller coaster inside of it, right?
Yep.
That's what we got.
True. I think that's where he was coming at it from, was essentially that you had the instead of it being an outdoor coaster, it was an indoor coaster with a lot to look at and see and do and such and all that sort of thing. But so I don't know about you, Sam. I think you were there way prior to the event, weren't you?
I was in town prior to the event. I was not able to get on Tron until the event, so I didn't even try because I knew it was coming. So I didn't do any Passover
2 hours though.
I got there before you, yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, so
I was there before both of you, but
well, you were, but and I think to re-answer your question, John, yes, I was there because you were flying in that morning and had a whole bunch of stuff going on. Holy cow, did you have a long
That's what
day.
I was going to point out. It was just I'm kind of and the reason why my voice is totally done almost
is because of Blue Splotch Layer and some yelling.
Well, among that, but also the fact that I was out of town on business. I was in Dayton, Ohio. I was at a really cool STEM event that's held right before the first four, which is still going on. And of course, we're broadcasting. Someone may have to give us updates on the Fairleigh Dickinson game because I'm kind of curious about what are they, 16 seed or something?
Yeah, 16.
16.9 or something.
It was a 16-9, I think.
Yeah. So that's what's going on now. I mean, we're in the middle of March Madness. And so I was out there for that, but then flew in that morning, got up at 3 something in the morning, hopped on a plane at 6 a.m., took a plane from Dayton, Ohio to Atlanta, then Atlanta to Orlando, got to ride in my first ever lay flat seat.
Nice.
In first class. Had never done that before. I didn't quite lay flat, but I did have a very comfortable, stretched out, way back kind of thing going on. But then arrived on property somewhere around, I'm guessing 11 o'clock. It was somewhere at that point in time. And luckily, my room at the Grand Floridian was ready. Nice. And a little tip of the cap there to Disney Parks and Disney PR and the fine folks that work there, including our rep, both Sam and my's rep, Allison.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
For putting us up in quite the fine accommodations, let me tell you. I'm going to make a quick comment on that, that the last time I stayed at the Grand Floridian was probably 10 or 15 years ago. And this was the sequence of events. My wife and I arrived because we had never stayed there before. And it was pretty much the only resort at that time on property that we hadn't stayed at. And we arrived, we checked in, we went to our room and we went, oh, heck no. And we looked around and it felt like Martha Stewart on steroids. And we proceeded to call the Disney hotline and said, you got any rooms over at the Polynesian?
Oh, wow.
And we promptly checked out. and took a room over there. Yeah, it just wasn't us. But let me see what you got. You've got some pictures of the room.
I do have some. I mean, it's the Mary Poppins room, right? And
Yeah,
Mary
so
Poppins was very subtle. But yeah,
right.
go ahead.
And I think that, well, what I'm just was going to describe, or you can describe, so that the folks that are just listening rather than watching have
Sure.
kind of an idea. But these rooms, I would say, are tastefully elegant, but they're not to the point where you feel uncomfortable, like
Right.
that they're so opulent, which I think they found a really nice balance between the really upscale kind of feeling and then the just kind of feeling at home at the same time. I didn't feel out of place, in other words.
And Mary Poppins wasn't overdone.
Mhm.
There were some little nods, like that's Cherry Tree Lane, and there was some.
Well, look in the chandelier. So
That's where I was getting. The
Yeah.
chandelier has all these fancy birds around it, and then if you got really close to it, you could tell that one of them was a penguin that was looking
Oh,
back
look at that.
towards the. So that was kind of a cool
I
little
didn't
nod to
notice
see.
that. Look at you.
Yes, one of them
Finding
is a penguin,
in the
which is really cool
birds.
in the chandelier, and there was indeed quite a bit of wallpapers around
going on too.
A lot of construction going on as well. That's for sure.
They're doing some refurbs and stuff.
That is in the lobby, the Poly. That's not it. I don't know where my other pictures are right now. But one of the things I thought were cool was the wallpaper. There were some shout outs to Mary Poppins in the wallpaper.
Yeah, I told you I thought the wallpaper was cool. John, remember I called that out? I said, I think this wallpaper is great.
Yeah. Again,
there it is. I found it.
Oh,
I found it now. Yes, I found it. It just took me a second. So that's one of the wallpapers there. And you could tell that right in the middle, there's some, I mean, that's kind of cool if you get close enough to point that out. That's neat. So neat little silhouette.
Yeah, much like many other things at Disney, like there's little details. If you just look a little bit harder, that maybe wouldn't be immediately noticeable, but you delve in a little bit deeper, you zoom in a little bit, and you start seeing those kind of things. But I liked it. I mean, the floors, I think they looked like they were wood.
We debated that.
If they weren't some sort of.
It's not wood. It's the vinyl.
That's about the best looking vinyl wood I've ever seen, if that was the case.
What I love about it, in all of the rooms that they've been redoing, they did this over at Coronado, they did it some other places, where they took the elevated beds, which is a trick out of Disney Cruise Lines, where the beds are elevated enough that suitcases slide right underneath it. And I really like that because it gets it out of the way.
I like that too. I actually like to be up a little bit off the floor. And even here in our house, our master bedroom, the bed is elevated like that. We did the same sort of thing. And it's a nice feeling. And also I like that it feels really clean. They've got, the sheets tucked and stuff like that. You can see all the way under the bed. There's, like when you're checking out, there's no worrying about, did I leave something under there, or having to get on your, knees and do the sideways head look, is anything there? But anyway, it's really nice. I really liked
That's great.
it. And you can't beat the convenience of being right next to the Magic Kingdom,
Well, that's it right there. Although I had wanted to walk, the new walkway's open.
Yeah, it's closed.
It's closed right now, and I don't know that I had time to. It's just convenient to jump on that monorail.
Yep. So from there, after check-in, which thankfully my room was ready immediately when I got there. As I was walking up to try and think, okay, do I need to stow my bags or whatever? And I got the text. So it was a quick bag drop and then hopping on the monorail. Actually, no, I didn't hop on the monorail. I hopped on the bus to be taken over to the Contemporary, where there was a lounge set up for media folks, which had a interesting entrance.
It was indeed interesting. It was a little bit of Tron there now, wasn't it?
Yes. So one of the things that, we've got some pictures of this apparently.
Well, but for those that can't see, I mean, game on, there were some Tron machines. I mean, that's kind of cool.
They had Tron machines when you came in, and they gave you a coin, and you put the coin in the top of the machine in something that read it.
sorry, I didn't realize my sound was on.
He's got the sound on.
I'll turn the
And
sound off.
it didn't matter. It was background effects. But essentially, it kind of welcomed you to the grid, as it were. And after you were digitized, and then you moved on through a series of arches that would light up and were like motion activated or something as you walked over them, and then took us into what almost was a full-fledged arcade inside with a lot of cool stuff.
There's a lot of pictures here. My apologies. But yeah, full-fledged arcade, ready to roll.
Yep.
Hashtag all the Disney thrills for certain.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and Sam's given just some pictures here that kind of give you a behind the scenes on some of the stuff that, like the lengths that Disney goes to kind of make press and media feel at home, and also to start feeling in the groove of the event overall. So, I mean, all the arcade games were playable in this place. They had free Mickey bars. They had some merch that we were able to choose from. And
I like the Guitar Hero myself, but that's a whole.
Did not play Guitar Hero.
That is my jam right there. We'll just leave it at that.
Yep. So after we checked in there, we got a few goodies. We got all the thrills goodie bag that was filled with lots of great stuff.
That's got a lot more in it now than it had then.
Yeah, because I got tons of stuff there. But among that, got a really cool Tron Magic Band Plus, actually. So that kind of, I think, at least for me, was one of the
by the way, Magic Band Plus integrated into the attraction. I think it's the first time that we saw anything like that, where you get some interaction from a Magic Band while you're on the
ride.
That was cool.
Yep. So from there, it was. I'm trying to think. We went over to the Magic Kingdom, and then I met up with you right around.
Yeah, we got to look at some merchandise. We got to ride a little bit. We got to talk to some Imagineers about it. There was a lot of stuff happening. A lot of videos picked up. Still editing those myself and getting them up to the YouTube channel, as you are too, I'm sure. But some really cool merch. If you want to talk about the merchandise at all, especially some of the. I want to say it's a Detect Me, but it's not. It was a little figurine that they put your face on, and that was some interesting merchandise for sure.
We definitely could talk about that. I would love to talk about the ride first, though.
Okay,
sure everyone's kind of curious about that.
Sure.
At least, so I wanted to wait to ride it until it was the ability to have me ride cam. For the first time.
Sure.
I didn't want to go on it before that, and then kind of have to. You always worry, like when the first time you go on something, okay, what's your reaction going to be or whatever. And then you also worry that later on, if you have to, like if you had to take a second ride cam or something, whether it would be the same reaction as the first time. Well, the cool thing is, let me tell you, after riding it, I had no worry that my reaction would be pretty much as good as the first time I rode it. So that says something right there. But
it does.
If you go to any of our social media channels, whether it be Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Twitters, whatever, what's the other one? The TikToker. We've got some of the videos from this weekend. Specifically, Facebook definitely has the ride cam video where I went on it for the first time with Sam, and.
I wanted to make sure I got your reaction walking through the queue as well.
Yes. So
because there were some cool moments in that queue.
You do have that, right?
I do have it. I have. Well, what we can do first is show people what's. I think you need to add me back in. This is.
There you go.
This is what you're looking at part of the queue while you're waiting. Watching the screen, you're kind of wondering what's going to come next. I love the music, by the way.
Users, prepare to be digitized into the world of Tron.
And when you get digitized, into the world of Tron like that.
Team Blue,
Wow.
welcome to the grid. Proceed to gates.
Now you're coming into the story. You're on the grid. You haven't started you're not in the game yet, but just watching this is so cool.
I love the anticipation. Like,
Absolutely.
as
I do too.
as you're about to take off.
Now, I wanted to show that first, or at least watch that, because now what I'm going to do is get your reaction to that for the first time. Because I
Okay.
knew what was coming. You didn't know what was coming, and I'm like, you know what? I'm going to use this opportunity to follow John to get John reacts.
Well, which was good because I eventually did that with Ian too.
Oh, good. See that? I led the way, Ian. There you
I
go.
will sometime this week. I will post the Ian reacts video. So,
And it was cool. So if you can add me back into the
All
screen.
times.
All right.
Restrict security.
Let's check this out.
Supervise young Team Blue users at all times. Attention users, you are about to be digitized into the world of Tron. For your safety in this world, all users should be in good health. You should be
If you think it's behind you here in the corner.
there we go.
I got it. This room that we're in here will hold 20 to 25 people. That's what I was told at a time.
Yep. Oh, I hit the wrong button there. Sorry.
Sorry.
Hold on.
I'm
Go ahead.
guessing something happens at some point here. We have the room to ourselves, by the way.
Users, prepare to be digitized into the world of Tron.
Oh!
Right. There it is.
Yeah.
There's the reaction.
Team
That's what we were looking for right there.
Proceed to gates.
So
It
what
was-
happens is, folks, so you understand, you walk in and you walk into a kind of a holding room where you are to be digitized into the world of Tron, much like in the movie where either Flynn or Sam are sitting in that chair and then the laser sort of beams them into. Well, that's supposedly, I guess this is the new way to get you onto the grid. And once you're on the grid, then you proceed to the light cycles and then you can fight for the users, as it
Right
were.
for the users, as it
Indeed.
is. Yeah.
So let me add this in. All right. So I can actually.
Yeah.
Oh,
I
there you
remember
go.
this.
Yeah. The problem is I don't know if I have the audio turned on like you did.
You
So,
should be able to, because it's your.
well, we'll see. All right. So let me know if you can hear this then, and we'll start it. Oh,
No,
no, of course not. Why would it be?
I do not have audio. But if
I don't think you really need audio anyway. It sort of speaks for
Yeah,
itself.
just keep going through it.
No. So yeah, what I
Look at John's face right now. Like, just,
yeah,
Yeah.
I think what you're going to want to do is if you haven't seen this already, definitely go onto our Facebook page and you'll see Sam and I talking and then about to go through the launch sequence. And then you look at my face.
It was bright. You could clearly tell it's so it's shooting you outside and around the loop. And
Yes. And so as part of riding the ride, folks, Sam and I dedicated ourselves to, sacrificing initially and doing
Yeah,
every single position. It would be at the front, the middle, the back, and I think some of the seats in between.
dude, this was so fun, John. Thank you for letting me do that with you. Because look, there's no one else on that train, John.
Yeah,
That's
which
what's
is
so cool.
again, so I think at some point, Ian, I said to you, and we when we got off the ride, we are just freaking blessed. I mean, this is amazing. How many things have we done over the years like this, where nobody else is there? You're an early rider on an attraction that other people don't get to see, or like this shot, and Ian, plenty of the shots where you and I were riding as well. Nobody was on the train with us at all.
Nope.
And it's just, it's amazing that you get to do this, like that we're living this life where
Thank
we
you
got
guys so much. It's awesome.
got to be picked to be able to do this. But
we really should thank all the fans that support the site,
Oh my
right?
gosh.
That, like, and Sam's, as well. To someone's listening to Jimi Hendrix, by the way. That was an excellent choice there. My son's actually learning that song right now.
That's cool.
Anyway, thank all the people that support the sites, right? The people that listen and want to consume content like this, that give us the opportunity to go and report and get and bring it back to them, so they kind of can get the skinny, as they would say.
Yeah, and have stuck around for all these years too.
Yeah, many years.
That's right.
Which we didn't expect. But
there's a couple of unique experiences to that attraction, John, and I and a couple of them I want to hit.
Hold on, let me get out some popcorn and.
Yeah. Pull that open. Go for that.
Wow,
one of them is the fact that there's a system of lockers where you need to put things, and this is first Disney attraction.
It's actually kind of cool.
The double-sided lockers. Bottom line, this is unique in the ride experience. You're sitting on what appears to be a light cycle, a motorcycle, and you're going to reach forward with your hands and grab onto the handlebars. There's no place to put a backpack at your feet like you can on most Disney attractions or on Guardians that we talked about. So they had to approach this differently, and they approached it with double-sided lockers, which are included. You don't have to pay for the locker. You're going to open it with your Magic Band or with your Magic Band Plus or with your park admission. And if you don't have one, why are you in the park? But anyway, if you don't have one or need a second locker, the attendants will give you one temporarily. You tap it, it opens, you put your things in, close the locker, go on the attraction. And when you're coming out of the exit, the lockers are double-sided. So you're taking your things out of the other side of the locker, which is a pretty good system.
Pretty smart. So I think that you pointed out a couple of good things right there. One is if you've got so much stuff that you need two lockers, this is not a problem.
I did.
Okay. You can either, if you have multiple people in your party, you can separately tap and go that route, or you can just talk to an attendant there and they'll give you another card. So you can use multiple lockers. Second of all, there's like a wall of lockers. So you're imagine
more than one wall of lockers. There's
it was an L shape.
Imagine, there's an L shape, and you're coming in on the right side of that L shape to go into the queue. Well, when you're coming out, you are on the opposite side of that L shape. So it's nice. You don't have a problem with people trying to go different directions and fighting each other to get into the attraction. You're taking your stuff out of the opposite side of the locker. And then you go, oh crap, I forgot. What was my number or whatever? Not a problem. They've got screens in between, about every so many lockers, banks of lockers. They've got a thing where you can actually then tap your pass, tap your band, and it will tell you what number your stuff is in.
Yep.
That was one of my first questions when I came in there. What happens if I forget my number?
Yeah.
Because I'm getting old.
And when you're putting your things in, you don't see that. But when you're exiting, there's a big screen, right? It basically says pick your language and tap, because if you forget where you're
I have to be honest.
I wish they'd have one of those for parking. That would be awesome.
I know. Well, that's
car that way.
This is thanks, Tom. I know, right? The whole.
Yeah.
I wish they did have a whole ride-on experience. He says, "Cool video, guys." Wish I got a ride video.
Yeah, Tom was there with us for a little bit of this.
Tom. Yeah, I know they were having a little bit of an issue too, which it was interesting. I loved how Disney handled that, just to kind of give you a little inside baseball stuff. So for a while, they were having, at least on one of the cars or something, they were having a problem with the onboard camera. And so instead what they did is they put one of their techs on there with a ride cam on top of a helmet. And actually cammed it. So if you look at Michelle Atwood from the Main Street Mouse, if you look at her,
look at that.
I gotta watch that.
Totally different than our cam experience. It's a little bit further back, and I noticed her audio is a little bit better, but the video, ours is better for close-up reactions on the video.
That's kind of cool. I did not know that happened.
Yep. I see you've got the Let me see.
Yeah, that was just a shot of the lockers as you
Yeah,
go down. So, and you can tell here it starts with 101, and I'm
Yep.
not sure how many it goes down to in the corner.
It goes
But
to like 799, I think. If I
yeah, so there
remember
were
correctly.
7 banks. There was the
Yeah.
100, the 200, the 300, so 700. That's a lot of lockers.
By the way,
And that's
kudos
only
to the
people that are
person.
on the attraction, right?
Kudos
That's
to the person who immediately goes to locker 404. And for the geeks in the audience, they'll get that.
I can't find it.
File not
Here's
found.
404.
File not found. Yeah, no, and to Ian's point, I wish they had that. I think they have actually, Ian, I think they do have something in the app that will kind of geo-target where you're yeah, they do. I swear.
No, they just have a place where you can write down the row, and
Oh,
I
thought
thought
they
the
would
same thing.
Really?
I was like
I
all
have to
excited.
know
They were
that.
like, "Oh, we're adding like, parking lot locator," and I was like, "Oh, that's awesome. You can just drop a pin." Nah, you just
You
write
know,
your spot number in
the
the thing.
funny thing is, Ian, because essentially as Ian and I were coming out of the
Oh my God,
park one
remember?
day,
Yeah, we could have used that thing.
we were looking around, couldn't find the car, and then what did I do? I did the exact same thing in literally the Dolphin parking lot. I spent 10 minutes walking around. I went to the back of the parking lot because I've been there enough where my brain is starting to get confused. All right, I've been here. I parked here. I parked here. I parked there, and then I started doing the beep thing and finally figured out I
Well,
was.
you know what I realized?
Back.
It's hard to believe, I know, because I've probably been to a Disney theme park well over, 100 times, and I may be grossly underestimating, but every time I go, I'm still like a big excited nerd. So like I throw I park my car, and like if it wasn't for my wife, I'd never find my car because I park my car and jump out, and I'm like, let's go, like and like that's what I did in the morning. I was like, yes, I'm at the studios, like jumped out, took off, never even
Right.
thought to look at my row number. I was just like totally nerding out, trying to beat everybody to the front of the line. So I
Yeah, I mean, just to ride Rise of the Resistance. I mean,
Yes,
literally, that was what we were
That's right.
trying
That's
to do that second day. So let me talk just for 2 seconds here, and maybe a little bit longer, and you all can chime in on this on the actual ride experience itself. So when we went into this, I think like everybody, for weeks, maybe a month or so, we had been reading the online reviews of what people were saying about the attraction and watching the TikToks and seeing the Instagram videos and whatever. And not only that, but Michael Montanez on our own podcast for years have been telling us about how this ride was so incredible. I mean, literally, I've got a Tron Light Cycle Run t-shirt from Shanghai from
Nice.
years upon years ago. But going into it, I was getting kind of mixed reviews, and I'm like, this doesn't sound right. I mean, Michael, I trust Michael with like his reviews of things, and he had told us how amazing it was and how we were going to be blown away. And yet online, I was kind of reading, well, it's all right. It's a little bit short, and, that kind of stuff. And I'm thinking, oh, really? Okay. And you start getting worried about, the first time you ride it, or what your reaction actually is going to be. So if you look at the ride cam, obviously, you'll see my face. And I don't think, by the way, there has ever been a better ride cam that Disney has done than this one. I mean, that actually captured the emotion of the moment. And we've done a bunch of them over the years, but I'm just telling you, after riding it, I don't get it. I don't get what people were talking about. I mean, they were comparing this to Guardians. First of all,
That's the problem, John.
completely
That's the
different
problem.
ride systems. Okay.
That's the problem.
You can't do that though.
Right. I agree with you.
Well, but it's natural. I tried to tell you this. That's what's going to happen. It's just
Yes.
natural. It's a roller coaster in Disney World. The last roller coaster they opened was Guardians. They're going to get compared. I mean, there's no doubt about it.
So you can compare, but it's completely different experiences in my book. Okay,
You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right, John.
Yeah,
And if
you're
the
100%
comparison
right.
is
I agree with you.
if the comparison is hitting the stopwatch when you start and hitting with the end,
Right.
Guardians is longer.
Which
Yes.
seems to be the biggest concern, right?
But
Is
that's not that should not be part of the thing. It's the experience. It's what you went through it. Because I agree, they're two awesome standalone attractions. Yeah,
Right.
one's a little longer than the other one, but you know what? Big Thunder's longer than Barnstormer. I mean,
can we just address the whole length thing? Okay.
Yes.
Because I mean, it's like anybody who's complaining that, have you been on a roller coaster before?
That's a great point.
I mean, literally any roller coaster in the world, be it a steel, wooden, whatever, in any amusement park, be it Universal, be it in Nobles Grove, be it in Kennywood, be it, in Cedar Point, be it, I could just start naming parks all over the country, be it your local, be it, what it was the one that West Point Park that Ian and I grew up with.
No one knows that besides us.
No, but the point being, most roller coasters are about a minute long.
Well, here's a question. Before Guardians opened, what was the best Disney roller coaster in Walt Disney World, would you say?
Before Guardians opened.
Before Guardians opened, yeah.
Is it Everest or is it Rock and Roller Coaster?
Well, I mean, I guess
that would be kind of a
fair, but
you could.
I was thinking Rock and Roller Coaster.
I would
fair.
lean
You
more
could
towards
put
Rock and Roller Coaster, but
you
the
could
theme
put
on Everest
on there. But Rock and Roller Coaster is like 48 seconds long. And like I never heard anybody go, "Oh, Rock and Roller Coaster stinks. It's so short." Like, it's not about the length of the attraction. Like, yeah, okay. I mean, I guess if I had my way, I'd rather have a longer ride. But like, what matters is what you experience during the time you're on the ride itself. Like, that's all that matters in my book.
100%. But I don't. I gotta stop saying that.
I'm gonna give you like 100% jar, John, where you like.
That's it. I'm gonna have to start putting money into the
20 in there every time you say.
Started using that way too much, and I'm finding myself. I'm catching it. No, but the point was, I didn't get to the end of the ride and go,
"Oh, I was cheated."
Not at all.
Short.
Or that didn't have enough cool stuff going on in it. Or if anything, I felt like, going outside was amazing, both in day and at night. Mm-hmm. And then coming inside, I felt there was an appropriate amount of stuff going on to capture your attention, and the music was great. And I liked the climax of the ride towards the end, which, okay, close your ears for 2 seconds, where the light cycles come alongside you, and then you take one of the light cycles out, like you do in the actual video game.
Right. It was cool.
Movies. It's cool. Yeah.
I have no problem with it. So
I would be beyond having no problem with it. I thought it was fantastic. Like, John and I both, like, because John had already said to me, I just didn't get it at all. Like, it's fantastic. Like, I didn't get any complaints. He's like, but I'll wait. I don't get the complaints, but I'll wait and hear what you have to say. Yeah. And when we got off, I think it was, 10 seconds afterwards, he's like, well, what do you think? And I was like, yeah, I don't get it. Like, that was amazing.
Yeah, and the comparisons aren't fair, like you guys said. No. This is a great attraction. If you understand the story going into it, just like Guardians, right? You understand the story. You need to pass through 8 energy gates inside of this building before the other guys do. And as you're going through this, you'll get gate 1, gate 2, which, by the way, John, comes back to understanding the story, and then maybe where you sit in the attraction, because we learned if you're in the front, maybe that's more thrilling. But if you're in the back, you see these gates pass by a little better. Right. I don't know where's the best place to sit.
Well, let me tell you.
If you want a thrilling ride, go ahead, John. You take.
Yeah, when I got off, I said, I don't know if it was you with you, Sam, or you, Ian. I just said that was a little violent.
Yeah, you said that to me. Yeah. Because what happened was the first time John and I rode, John had already ridden for like 6 times
all morning. Yeah,
4 times. I think it was 4 or 5 times
when I went on with you, and he had already sat, like you said, in the front, middle, back, or whatever. Right. So when he and I went on the first time together, I don't even know really why. We just were in the very, very, very back, the last car.
Mhm.
And I don't remember if we made that choice voluntarily or if that just happened to be where we landed.
No, I think that was one of those where let's try it from. We're going to do it from a couple
And
different.
I'm a pretty dedicated coaster guy, not just Disney coasters, but in my lifetime, I've always been a fan of roller coasters and grew up kind of going to like John Hershey Park and Dorney
Right.
Park and Great Adventure and all these. And so to me as a coaster guy, the back is where you always want to be, right? The back is where the more thrilling,
Typically,
ride usually is. And so
yeah.
I kind of figured like, oh, well, I got, the back, like that's the best. And then John said, I don't know. I got to tell you, I think on this one, it's the front. And ask John, John, I was like, come on, dude. Like, it's never the front. Like, no way. So he's like, all right, well, we're going on the front. Yeah, it's the front. Like,
So
the front is a whole different ball
It's
game.
different, the front and the back.
even than row 2, and I'm just telling you that because when we did the cam video, we weren't actually in row 1. So to understand how it's set up, the camera is and a light bar is set up in front of you in the first car, and then you sit in the second light cycle, as it were, and experience it that way. And I can tell you, even being in that was not the same as being the lead
The first car.
Yeah, it's bananas. It really is. Like the launch sequence coming out of there is
It's cool.
nothing short of fantastic. Okay. And okay, folks, so you understand, it's like you're riding a motorcycle. You are on top of the attraction.
Let me hit play on what you
Yeah,
just said,
let's do this. So
this is a little bit of B-roll, and it'll kind of get back to the question of
Here we go.
can you put your hands up?
Okay.
But this is some video that Disney had shared with us.
Okay.
But essentially, in a second here, you're going to see the locker system where he's handing a card if you need one. This is where you put you open up your locker, put the stuff in. But as soon as you get around the corner here, this is where you're actually getting on the cars. Well, here you go. Tap your magic band, open up the locker, put your stuff in it, and then you'll get that a little bit later. The locker will close up, the light will come on. But it is getting on a motorcycle of sorts. I'm going to jump ahead just a second.
Yeah, a light cycle there.
So there we go. Here's a light cycle and how you're getting on. Interesting that you have to walk through the center for the person on the outside.
Yeah,
to get on.
That was a little odd.
Yeah,
I
so
have
I
to
think
say that was a little strange.
I think there's going to be some confusion because initially when we were going to get on the light cycles, they ride 2 side by side. Okay.
Yep.
So when you go to get on,
right there and we'll come back.
Pause it for 2 seconds. When you get on, as the guy who was going to be on the opposite side, I was like, okay, what do I do? Do I hop over the first bike to get to the second? They were like, no, you walk through and over. I was like, oh, okay.
Which is different than anything in any coaster, right? You don't walk through the
You never, in fact, if you tried, they would like throw you out. You're never allowed to cross the track. That's like
exactly, and that's really what you're doing. You're crossing the track to get in.
No, so then you get in and you get on the bike. You put your hands on the handlebars. There's 2 different grips depending on which is more comfortable to you, and probably has to do with your size.
Yeah.
And then you pull those grips back towards you, and at that time, your leg and your back is kind of locked in, and you're in a sort of laying flat position, almost. I mean,
it's your belly though.
Your belly's leaning forward against that, and then your arms are outstretched
on that subject. I recommend eating after the ride, not before. I was starving and I went to Cosmic Rays and had like a chicken sandwich and French fries, and then John took me on this thing. I was like, ugh.
So I would like to. I'm sorry, but wait, hold on. Wait, hold on. This just in. So as if you get delayed, okay, so you're in that position, right?
Oh wait, you're gonna give this one away already?
I'm going to give it away.
Oh, okay.
What are you gonna do?
I thought we'd wait till later to do.
No, this is 100% Intercot. I just did
Intercot.
100%.
Intercot Consulting. This is why you listen, people, to get tips like this. I'm telling you. Write this down.
Okay, right. Ready?
Write this down.
Okay, so you're leaning forward and let's say there's a delayed launch, or you're out in the launch tube, or you've come back into the station and you're waiting to pull back in. And old guys like us, and maybe even normal people, you get a little bit tired.
Because we're definitely not normal.
No, you get a little tired. You're leaning over, and you need to rest a little bit. I would recommend going into what we called the thinker pose.
Yeah,
So
this is really important.
think about that. You rest your elbow, and then your chin on your fist, and just start pretending like you're thinking. And that will save your back. Literally, we did that a number of times, and we were like, "Yeah, this is the way to go."
Well, we did get paused one time, not stuck, but we got paused for maybe, I don't know, John, like 30 seconds waiting to get, you know how it is. Sometimes it just takes a little longer to board some guests, and so we got stuck, and I was like, "Oh no, like my back's gonna hurt." John's like, "No, the thinker position."
The thinker.
And the minute I went into the
Work
thinker, I was totally
It was
fine.
okay.
Yeah,
you gotta learn the thinker.
So I would use that hashtag the thinker. That I was in the thinker pose. Take yourself a picture on the ride in the thinker pose. We encourage it, and we look for this to go viral. It's going to be
shared on the INTERCOT.
One
page.
other thing I want to share here as you pull this back, because there's two things that happen, and I'm going to try to describe it. While you pull these bars towards you, the back comes towards you and lays across your back. And at the same time, there's a restraining bar that goes across your leg. I'm going to hit play here, and you'll be able to see it.
Into the car. Sam's showing it on the video.
They have it's behind your knee and on your back, and that's kind of the restraint system and what's keeping you
in the ride.
And when they come back, it's the good old please push forward. Now, along those lines, it might be uncomfortable for some people.
Yep.
And there are clearly situations where maybe you just can't ride in that type of a situation, right? For whatever the reason might be. In the blast car on 3 of the 7 trains, I think. I'm not sure if it was 3 or 4.
It was almost, I think, every other train.
There is a train that has a regular seat in the back. It's marked with the handicap symbol, but it is the same train. You're just sitting down as opposed to sitting on the light cycle. This could be more comfortable. If it's not comfortable to sit in it, if you're in a wheelchair, that's the way to go. But you're going to get the same experience.
If you're completely freaked out about the idea of just riding
that too, it's an option.
It is an option for you,
and it's an option to make sure everybody's aware of, just because.
Absolutely. But
if you've done Flights of Passage, you kind of get a sense for what it's like.
I would say
it is a good bit like the Flights of Passage, kind of safety system. So
I feel like you're locked in a little bit better on this one, but it is very.
Well, it's just
this one's moving a lot more than Flight of Passage.
Yeah, for sure. It's a similar position though, in that you've got that slightly sort of leaned forward feel, and you got your legs closed in and all that.
So, can you ride with your hands in the air? Yes.
If you get them up, John. Do we have that video?
Oh, if I.
We saw multiple people doing it. I was able to. I rode with one, but you can indeed.
I mean, or one-handed if you're feeling, kind of free but not too free, and you want to put the fist up or something. You can hold on. And
John, I'm going to send you this video on chat. If you can grab it and play it, if you can. I don't know if you'll be able to. Or not.
I don't know.
And there's when you come back out, you're tapping and grabbing your suitcases, or your bags. One interesting thing I will point out there, notice that on the flip side, the only ones that are lit up have things in them. And when you came in, the only ones that were lit up were empty. So when you tap it and put your things in and close it, the opposite size lights up. So you're grabbing your bag and moving on for the rest of your day.
All right.
Nighttime, absolutely incredible.
Let me see if I can do this here, just so you can say, watch.
There we go. You might have to pause this.
This guy was crazy.
Pause it. Look, there you go.
Look,
that guy, John and I saw him, and we were like, "Oh my goodness!"
What a way to go and try to pause that.
Let's do that one more
see if we
time.
can pause it right when he gets there, right now.
Right there.
There.
Okay,
that is a brave man.
That dude was almost standing up in the. I just, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yes, you can.
By the way,
Intercut
Intercot is
will
not in
approve
any
or
way
condone of that.
endorsing
Yes.
that behavior.
Thank you, Ian.
It's cool
just
though. It's
simply
cool to be down like
pointing
you're
it
on the
out.
bike and you're riding. I like that. That's one of the unique things about
The-
this attraction.
Or Amanda says,
concur.
just wave them in the air like you just
Think you don't
care.
care.
I think
Yeah,
that's what he was doing.
He
I
clearly did not care about his life.
Yeah. So, and you know, as some, let's see, Jane Fitzgibbons asked, did going outside change the immersive feeling at all?
That's kind of a good question, actually. I wouldn't have really considered that.
So,
aspect.
according to an Imagineer interview, I thought, like you, John, that when boom, you were digitized and on the grid when we
Mhm.
came in and that screen flashed. And according to Imagineer, that's not the case. You
Okay.
are actually entering the grid at the moment that you stop at the top of entering the building, and you're
yeah,
energized.
But
that makes sense.
when you
It slows down
pause.
considerably, and you see the first energy gates enhancing and getting brighter and brighter and brighter. Then, boom, you go inside through the first gate, the second gate, the third gate, the fourth gate. That's when you're officially on the grid, according to them.
Okay, so I would like to argue with that. But,
I
mean,
would
I know
argue
he's
with
an
an Imagineer.
Imagineer and everything.
You're not allowed.
But
argue
I
with
would say
Imagineers.
probably to answer the question honestly, Jane, at nighttime,
Not at
much
all.
less so
Much less so.
because of the canopy and the light and the
It's
fact
cool.
that there's you're feeling like that. But even in the daytime, I think that initial kind of shock to your system, by the time
yeah.
you realize you are back inside the building. I mean, it's quick.
Yeah,
ahead,
and
Ian.
to address something that Tom said, he said something about no zero G's,
Okay, there we go.
which I don't know if Tom had a chance to ride in the front or not, but I
Close to.
definitely felt in the very front that when you come up the hill to go back inside, there is definitely a moment where you
There's a
come
moment
way
of
up
zero
out of your,
G.
yeah, for sure.
There was some butt out of seat time for a second there. Yeah. Right as
Yes.
you came over. And the front row though. In the
I
other
didn't notice it at all in the
No.
in the back row, but in the front row it was very noticeable.
Yep. So yeah, that was one of those moments. I agree with you. And again, it goes to my point of it almost feeling a little violent. It was just it's a completely different ride if you ride up front. Now that being said, we had somebody come in. I think it was a mom there that was with a couple of her kids, and she was like, I'm a little apprehensive about riding this, and they were going to be way up front in the coaster. I said, just go all the way to the back. I said, you're going to love the ride there. You're going to see the light cycles in front of you trailing through the attraction.
I like.
Yeah, you're going to focus a little bit more on what's going on in the ride. In the front, all you can focus on is I'm
Staying
hanging
alive.
on for dear life.
Yeah.
This is amazing. But I think it's worth noting that if you're a little bit timid and you want to try it out for the first time, ride towards the back of the train.
I highly recommend the back if you're not. Like I said, I'm a coaster guy. Although I will admit, as I get older, perhaps slightly less than I used to be, but because you feel it more than you used to.
This is true.
But the front is intense. Like we rode it the first time, and John was like, "You want to do it again?" And I was like, "I'm gonna wait."
I
mean, no, in fairness, that was when I had
another time in the front.
When I had the belly
want
full of cosmic rays,
Yeah.
which is not particularly smart to do before you go on a relatively violent roller coaster.
Speaking of belly full, there's also a small quick service, or would you call it a counter service?
I think it's
restaurant
just
that's part of this.
I think it's a little counter service. It's almost like a kiosk more than anything else, right?
But it's something as you walk up there. And
Yeah.
there's also a restroom at the top of the line, which I thought was interesting, or happy to see.
I'm sort of curious as to how that works. Like, you're gonna have a lot of people that like need to go to the bathroom in line, and then all of a sudden you're gonna. I mean, I don't really care.
Or after you just come off.
Some people get
It's not
very
actually in the line. It's over
It's towards the bottom of the. It's not in the line. It's as soon as you start to cross that big bridge on the left.
Well, there's one there, and then there's one right after you get off the ride as well.
Restroom.
Yep.
Sorry,
Where?
I was thinking the quick service.
Oh, well,
Which, by the way, I got the
we
menu
were
up there if
talking
you want to look at it.
restrooms, too.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
we were talking about both. I want to talk about beef and broccoli digital dumplings.
Well, that sounds kind of good.
What are you
That's
talking about?
That's on the menu. Look,
Is
this
it? Is that little
that little thing? Yeah, it's more than it's not a
pack?
popcorn stand. You can share it. It's right there. Take a look at it.
Okay, hold on.
Broccoli digital dumplings.
Wait, hold
The
on.
buffalo chicken digital dumplings. The chocolate cake donut holes.
Are we really?
Yeah.
Huh.
I'm okay with it, and it is that this is just behind those walls, but there's a nice little thing tucked there. So just to the left of this picture that you're looking at is the gift shop, which is the combined gift shop that was always Space Mountain. Now it's Space Mountain / Tron into one.
Right, but have you seen the recent announcements that it looks like that gift shop is not going to be open initially when the ride is open, that they are going to be moving it to pop-up shops being held
The merch.
Yes. Yeah. The merch is going to be at Stitches.
I think they're trying to keep
Great Escape
crowds away
That's
from
that has become a staple of new attractions. They did it at Guardians. They did it for Remy. They pushed all that over the World Showplace, if you remember.
I'm sorry, Christmas and digital dumplings. Do they have HTTP coffee? I would like to see some HTTP coffee.
What's on the, let's see. We have a watermelon refresher. That's what we have here as our drink of choice.
That's disappointing. Strawberry isofoam.
Yeah, strawberry isofoam ice cream.
I guess that's like, is that like ISO? You know,
I like how the desserts are the end of line.
Well, there's a picture of it. It looks good. I'd try that. There's the watermelon refresher and the beef and broccoli digital dumplings.
Oh, for the buffalo chicken digital dumplings. I think
I will not be getting a watermelon refresher. That sounds pretty gross.
It doesn't sound that there's popping candy in it. There's Pop Rocks in the thing, man. Come on.
Even that's not going to convince me. I do not. I don't do watermelon, especially the artificial watermelon.
All right, so this is actually a good question from Amanda, who's saying she loves Big Thunder, but Expedition Everest has gotten too intense for me. How does Tron compare for intensity and motion sickness? How about Guardians? I heard that Guardians has open top trash cans.
It does. Yeah, it's true.
Motion sickness.
So if I was going to rank them in intensity, I would rank them by far, I think Guardians first, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then Everest.
Although they were, again,
it's the
Guardians is
on
a
Everest
weird thing because of while it is intense, there is a smoothness to it.
Yeah, but it's what gets people, if you have motion sickness problems, what gets people is the rotating car. Yeah, so do I.
I can't go on carnival rides that spin.
And that one doesn't bother me particularly either.
No,
but
which is weird.
But there are times when if I'm not sort of paying close attention to making sure that I'm looking in the right direction, when I get off, I'm a little. But I would say this is less intense than Everest. Everest to me, at the backward segment is almost to the point now where I'm the devil invented Body Wars. Yeah, well, I think we can all agree with that. But Body Wars suffered from the fact that it was like a first generation MoSim and it just couldn't keep the film in sync with the hydraulics, so it made everybody sick. But this one doesn't have any of those, like, other than the launch, which is of course, it's thrilling. It doesn't really have any of those like high G, like super heavy load, like when you go backwards down Everest and it does that really tight, like, you get pretty slammed down. This one is more, I would say it's more sedate than that. I would say it's like Rock and Roller Coaster. To me, I would equate it closest to Rock and Roller Coaster, but no loops.
No loops, but again, you're on top of the ride car. So again, I think, Amanda, if you're thinking about going on it, make your first pass. Yeah, in the back.
Typically I would go intensity based on the height requirement, which, by the way, for Tron is 48 inches.
Okay.
But I think that has more to do with actually being inside the restraints of the car than
I think so too. being able to.
But 48 inches is pretty tall for a Disney attraction.
It's the tallest, right? There's no. I don't think there's anything other than like the Speedway in order to drive a car, where I think you have to be like 50.
Well, because you got to touch the
reach
to reach the
pedals.
pedal. Yeah, exactly. Just like here, I mean, it's the same thing, John. You need to be able to reach the pedals so they can get that restraint around your ankle down below.
Yeah, I mean, that is true. You do need to be in the right position, and we don't want you falling out of the ride. And by the way, at no point did we feel like we were going to fall out. And even
that is
Ian was
untrue. That is grossly untrue. The first time I
clearly
rode
you did not pull the bars close enough.
I guess I didn't, because the first time I rode in the front, first of all, let me calm everybody's fears. You will never fall out of this roller coaster because there are side restraints that come up along your side. However,
legs
they pull in, as you pull back, right? So I think I must not have pulled it down quite far enough, and I had like that much space between me and the side restraints. So the first time we hit one of these corners, I'm like, and I was like, I looked at John, I go, oh my God, I almost fell out. So pro tip,
you didn't almost
make
fall
sure
out,
you really pull the. No, I didn't almost fall out. Make sure you pull the bar closer, because the next time I locked it down and I was fine. So, but I did in fact think I was going to fall out of it.
I think the point being, that is what makes it thrilling, is that you're on top and there is a little bit of a sense of danger, but quite frankly, you are obviously locked in there pretty good and you're not coming out.
Yes, correct.
I mean, if that dude can fly in that video the way he did and still be okay, then I think.
Well,
I don't know.
As far as we know. Yeah, we have no idea.
I don't know who it was.
I mean, and actually, they weren't really keeping track of head count. Like, if he hadn't come back, I'm not sure anybody would have noticed.
Goodness, that's funny. All right. So, I don't know. I mean, I was 10 out of 10. I just thought it was a fantastic attraction. Actually, I think they did it really well. I think the from the moment you stepped onto it, I was immersed. I loved the launch sequence. I liked the lighting. I liked the effects. I liked when you went through the actual indoor attraction itself. I thought that was really done. It didn't feel skimpy. Like sometimes, like even in Guardians in that final scene, I felt like, I mean, we could have put a little more than just maybe a video screen in that. The rest of that ride I thought was amazing. And this one, I didn't really come off having any kind of nits about it. Like I just didn't. I felt pretty good about it. What was yours, Ian?
I mean, I want to preface this statement by saying I couldn't care less, because it's such a thrilling ride that I mean, the scenery is sort of like an afterthought, but there's not much to look at until you get to the very end. Like, I would have liked maybe some more blue lights or something just to like jazz it up a little bit. I mean, it's a little, bare. I
don't know. Having watched the movie,
the movies are bare.
The movie is it looked like the movie. I literally just watched it last night again. I watched Tron Legacy because I hadn't seen it for a while. By the way, Jeff Bridges, like, he's a little creepy in that movie with the CGI. I kind of wish they would go back right now and redigitize that so that it looks even better. Because the rest of the effects in that movie were stunning, actually.
Well, Legacy's not that old. When did that come out? Like 2010? 2010? Yeah. 2010. I mean, that's not
13 years ago, dude. You know how far we've come in the last 13 years. Heck,
I guess I was thinking of it as an evolution of the first films.
So, no, I get it.
Which, by the way, had pretty amazing, visuals for the time.
Yeah, for the time. Absolutely.
Groundbreaking.
I remember being blown away in the theater when my dad took me to see that movie. It just like, I couldn't believe what I was seeing. It was
still am, but kind of how you watch the Polar Express and you see the face. Have you seen that?
Yeah. Yes, I've seen the Polar Express.
All right. It's a little creepy. Well, his character had that kind of face. Like,
I know. Yeah.
Like, since then we've gotten to the point where you almost can't tell what's CGI and what's real. It's getting there.
Might have a little way to go yet.
Yeah, we do. But I'm just saying, 13 years ago, it left a little to be desired. But
by the way, to be clear, Jeff Bridges is pretty creepy in general.
In general.
Well, I mean, they had real him in that movie.
Yeah, I know.
In addition to the digital him. And I think it was the early scene where he was interacting with his son and they cut to him, and maybe they should have just shot that whole from the back, him talking to his son, and just stayed away from the face. I didn't mind it so much as he was a digitized character
Right.
on the grid
Yeah.
later.
Yeah.
Like, I get that. Okay. But all right.
So so what I think's the coolest part, John, is
Yes.
I think the attraction's awesome for what it is. It's a great addition to Tomorrowland. This is a net new attraction for Magic Kingdom.
Yes.
We didn't lose anything except for the train for 5 years. That's
Such a
another
great-
story.
I'm-
This
train's
didn't
back.
replace
What a great
something. The
point.
train's back, but this is net new. This is something else to do at Magic Kingdom, a park that is packed with attractions. Here's an e-ticket attraction. It's definitely e-ticket that people are going to love, and they're going to want to ride, and they're going to get in that virtual queue, and that's what I love about it. It's a people eater too. How many more people are in Magic Kingdom because of this thing? That's the best part.
I mean, it's funny when you say that because, like, I've often done like sort of I do the compare right between the parks and like like Magic Kingdom has easily double the number of sort of
Absolutely.
what I
Yes.
consider like rideable attractions as any of the other parks. Yeah, now
Yeah.
we get like another
And
plus
it still
one.
needs
Another
another
one.
land, quite frankly.
Well, I mean, they all need. If it was up to me, I'd build another park, but that's a story
Yeah, I
for
know,
another
but it's
podcast. But
they're
Well,
thinking
what is
about-
beyond Big Thunder? We don't know. We may never know. But anyway, it's new.
True.
It is
Yeah,
new.
it is
with
new.
the Guardians. Okay, what was better, Guardians or Energy Adventure? Clearly, it's Guardians. Mickey and Minnie. What's better, that or the Great Movie Ride?
You say clearly it's Guardians?
Guardians is better than
Wow.
Ellen's
Come on,
Energy
Guardians
Adventure.
is better than Ellen's.
Dude, but-
Period. No,
Ellen's
stop.
best aspect was it was a great place to take a nap.
Yes,
But
that
when
was
when that ride officially debuted in '82, and it was the universe of energy, and it was part of the whole
Well,
park
yeah.
as a whole. Come on, so you're talking
that was
about a
good. Yeah,
moment in
it was
time.
dated. It was
Right,
when
but
it was
back
replaced.
then,
It was done.
I argue
agree.
that
Back
was the
then,
single
yes.
greatest theme
Well,
park.
sure, those
achievement
dinosaurs
for
were really
Disney
cool.
parks.
Yeah, it was great. I mean, but that was a long time ago. Like, you got to
I'm
go.
talking.
And Guardians is, I would say, evolution
Well,
better than
maybe in
Ellen's
10
Energy
years
Adventure.
we'll be looking at this going, So I wanted to address
I
just
hope so.
Chris
Yeah,
Smith
what I'm
was
not
asking
sure what
about,
that means.
are there, well, I think he means the light trails that come out of the cycles, that
Oh,
actually
yeah.
create the traces that then cut other light
I get it.
cycles off.
Yes, I understand. I get it.
And at one point in the attraction towards the end, where you are trailing I guess it's orange or yellow
Orange.
It's orange. Yeah.
light cycle, you can see their trails. You cannot see your own
You
trail.
see their tree. Yeah, that's
And that then essentially you're presumed to have cut them off, and then they crash. And
Well, I would argue if you were riding a light cycle, you probably wouldn't see your own trail, right? Because it's behind you. So,
I
like,
don't know. I think if
Yeah,
it
so
were a
maybe it
light
is that
cycle,
way.
you'd be creating a light trail, and you could turn around and see.
yeah, I mean, I suppose, but maybe it dissipated before you.
On
started.
my Tron game down in the basement, that's what happens.
Yeah, I remember that. That's actually a challenging segment of the ride.
It
Or
is.
the game. I mean, look, let's be honest. Like I agree with you. All of these things, they could have done that. It would have been cool. But I agree, and I would love to have seen a few more visuals along the way and a little bit more stuff to look at. Number one, if you ride it at night, the outside segment is so visually stunning that
It
by
is.
the time you realize, but after you get back inside, you're halfway done before you even stop thinking about how cool the outside was.
That's just true.
And
Yeah.
then it's like being scrambled inside a blender. Like, none of this occurs to you when you're in that. Like, I got to be honest with
Good
you.
analogy.
It was the third time I rode it when I actually realized, there's lights. Like, oh, cool. We just cut that one off. And like, I didn't have any idea. Like, I was just like,
It takes a
you know.
few rides to soak it all in, I think.
yeah, which is good because it gives it a little bit of rerideability, right? Like, you can the first time you ride it, you're just like, trying to hang on for dear life and hope, that you survive. But then, the more you get kind of used to it, then you can start to kind of appreciate the visuals.
This is true. So I just want to, point out that at some point that I met Bruce Boxleitner.
You're welcome.
I know. Thanks
Now,
to
let me be
Sam.
clear. There was nothing awkward about this interaction at all.
Nothing.
Like, John didn't creepily follow behind him and, like,
We
awkwardly
were
walk in front of him
parallel
and then
with them.
turn
Was it?
around and sort of stare
No.
at him and then,
Okay. That was
like,
not how it happened.
make Cindy,
It
what's
did
her
not.
name, angry at him. And
Cindy
then,
Morgan.
Cindy
So-
Morgan.
so-
And then eventually force Bruce Boxleitner into taking a selfie with him at all.
Bruce is
not what
a
happened.
genuinely good person. Like, I've heard it through the whole weekend where people like took, or not weekend, just the day, where people took pictures with him, how nice he was. And quite frankly, when Sam pointed out to me that he was right behind us as we were walking up on approach to the ride, and I realized this is my only chance. Like, I'm never going to get another chance to actually have my picture with Tron. And the running joke is, I mean, I go by my self-appointed MCP, the Master Control Program of INTERCOT.com. So, like, there is a genuine connection here. Like, I love it.
I'm sure Bruce Boxleitner feels that connection too.
He felt it.
Very
He
emotionally.
absolutely felt it.
invested in it.
So,
It was a great.
He was.
it was a
John's
cool
trying to get
moment.
his picture, and Bruce is going, "Yeah, security."
No, you know,
Can I get a
Cindy Morgan
security
was
guard?
almost doing that. So
Yeah, Cindy Morgan was definitely unhappy.
she was not into the whole picture because I essentially walked up. I was like, "Can I get a quick picture?" And I was ready. I already had, you know, the app up, and all I had to do was and Bruce seemed like he was cool with it, but Cindy wasn't. So you know what? Ultimately, I was asking both of them. She was like, and Bruce was like, okay. And so I just, you know, took the shot.
I think there's an interesting societal lesson in there for us, but probably not best.
Well, I mean, you know what? I genuinely hate approaching celebrities and stuff like that, unless they have a set space for you to go actually to take a picture with them. I'm not.
But don't you think
usually
maybe
that
she
guy.
doesn't like having her picture taken because she was, you know what I mean?
I don't know.
Like I think
I don't think
it's
she was
just
comfortable with having her picture taken.
yeah, and I think
And
that's
I was okay with that. You know what? It's fine. You know what? There are days where I don't feel like having my picture taken.
I don't like having
mean,
my picture taken either.
yeah, exactly. So we all get it. So the point being, he was a really good guy. He smiled for every picture I've seen. He has a great smile on his face, and he was, you know, for the few seconds I interacted with him, he's a good dude. So that's all I'm going to say. I mean, as far as that goes, it was a moment for me. I was very happy that he took the time to say hello to me as a fan. So it was cool, really cool. And
Yeah.
the show is.
We all kind of watched, and I
Great.
was like,
Hold.
I'm just going to keep it.
Yeah, hold on.
No, I was looking. Chris asked a question out there. Bring up that last question. Didn't catch if you did a merch clip. Are there any light cycle batons? There's
Okay,
not,
wait, hold on. I actually do have.
I just shared a picture of what that game thing. Is that what you were talking about?
Well, I don't know, but I was going to actually bring up. I mean, since they were asking about Murray,
I did not see any light cycle batons anywhere.
There was a game.
There was, and I'm trying to think whether I had.
It was on the. You may or may not. It's cool merchandise, by the way. That is cool as can be.
Yep.
That's the light cycle ring that you can take off, and when it's on your back, it's a Bluetooth speaker. Super cool. Keep flipping
Remote
through there.
control.
That's cool. That also with your chip can go inside of that. Your personality chip of sorts.
Yep. So that was that.
Like you.
Hold on.
Where's the personalized one, John? Did you get a picture of that?
Did I get the personalized picture?
Yeah, the one
There
where
you
you
go.
no, the
Alright.
one where you
No, it's
can
not
like
there
put
yet.
yourself in the game.
Man, that's some good camera work there.
So Sam and Ian, by the way, both worked camera
I
for
can't see anybody over top of that.
for INTERCOT.
There
I'm
you go.
trying to. All right. So
It's on the table
it's
here in
actually
a
on the
second if you get to
wall.
it.
back up here above her head, but yeah, we'll probably get to it here in a second.
Hold on. It's to the left. It's all the way in the left-hand corner of this table.
I think he's talking about the ones that the batons that you grab onto. That
yes,
then
yes. There's a game.
This
Yes.
light cycle actually appears.
Yes, I
behind
know.
you.
Right that right there on the left. That thing on the
Oh
left. Right
yeah,
there.
there is one.
That thing right there.
Look at that.
Go back just a little bit.
Yep,
Pause
there
it
it
right
is.
there.
Yep,
Right
that
here.
is
That
in
thing is a
fact one.
game.
I
You
didn't
can
see that.
stand alone, or you can play against each other. But
But
that thing.
but look
is cool.
look at the Tron arcade game. The figurine comes inside
That's
of
the box. It's the
that's the
package.
box. It's like that is the most amazing thing ever. Just take my money.
What
It
did
looks-
I say to you after I looked around that store, John? I said I have really not
Look at
spent
that. Look,
other
You're gonna
than buying.
digitize your face. By
Yeah,
the
that
way.
is insane.
gotta
Other
watch
than
the
buying
video
my
on
teenage
Facebook.
daughter's Loungefly backpacks by the truckful,
Right.
I haven't really spent any money on Disney merch in years. Mostly because I frankly think it's garbage. This store, they're going to get my money, no doubt about it. I'm looking at I saw 5 things I want just in watching this video. They're going to get my money.
Yep.
This thing is nuts.
So this is where they digitize you. You say a couple of sayings, and then your face plays back. And I think she plays it for you here.
Yeah, so you know the way that they
Right
project
here.
the faces onto
There, she's going to press the button, and it starts talking. That will be your face.
Yeah, your face is actually on. I mean, come on.
That's cool.
That is
That's
just
cool.
there. It doesn't. And look at this. She's showing the chip. So
That's the memory card, which you can put in the motorcycle, and then the motorcycle is you.
right.
It
So
goes in that.
the nice thing is that once you get digitized onto the grid, that identity chip can be used in a number of different things that are being sold there, including. I mean, look.
That's cool. Is a must-have.
Yeah.
Well, that's a Bluetooth speaker.
That's the other thing.
Yeah, see, and my son was just asking for one of those, so I'll get him a Tron one, and then
It clips right on your backpack, so you are a walking DJ at that point.
Right. So, I mean, all this stuff. I love. They really did do some clever synergy there. Some synergistic things in order to bring together the technology and the actual attraction.
I couldn't help but think to myself, I hope this is a sign of maybe them stepping up their merch game a little bit, because it's, in my opinion, it's been a little weak in recent years. It's a lot of the same. This stuff was pretty unique and cool. So I'd love it if this was a sign that, they're kind of reinvigorating their merchandise in the park and maybe trying to.
What, if any, of this merch exists in Shanghai?
That's a good question, actually.
There's the
I'm
flat
just
baseball
wondering.
cap that Sam has.
Where's Michael when we need him?
I don't know. Yeah, that would have been nice to hear that. But I think to the point, this attraction, this movie, this franchise lends itself very well to merchandise. I mean, technology related stuff and the kind of things that they've brought forward. But I mean, the fact that you can actually put your digital face on something and have it spit back some phrases from the movie and things like that. It just really, really cool stuff. I mean, even the helmets, I mean, are kind of crazy. So, I mean, honestly, the merchandise, the ride itself, fantastic part of the weekend.
And that wasn't all, but I think that's all we got time to talk about.
We got 10 minutes left. So in that 10 minutes, we can kind of talk a little bit. Well, so from there, from the preview of the ride, then we went into the after party where we got Ian and I talked with Jeff Volley, the president, of Walt Disney World. And, Ian expressed his displeasure of Harmonious.
Okay, I have to set the record straight on this Harmonious
funny
narrative, which is completely false.
It's
what happened was I said how much I loved the Happily Ever After show and how great it was, and then I made an offhand comment.
Said something like, "Well, how about Harmonious?"
Unlike Harmonious, that's all I said. John makes
something
it
like
seem
that
like
was a stinker or something.
I did not say that. John makes it seem like I punched him in the mouth and said that it was the worst show. I literally said, unlike Harmonious. That was it. And by the way, he agreed with me wholeheartedly.
He did. So you said something about how you weren't thrilled by it.
I said it wasn't. I said it didn't generate the same
criticism.
level of emotions,
right?
That I thought the other shows did. And he said, "You saw what I did about that, right?" It was
right.
response, so yeah. So I have to say,
He's such a good
anybody
guy.
who listens to this show knows that certainly in recent years, John to some degree, but me even more,
Right.
have been pretty vocal in my criticism about, the way that they've been running the parks. And look, you can, assign blame or agree or disagree. None of that really matters. When I talked to this guy, I came away feeling like, okay, I don't know, who ultimately has the decisions for what goes on here, but I felt like this guy genuinely cared
Yeah.
about Disney World, and
Yes.
not just Disney World, but just
That's
Disney in
good.
general. Like, he was legit, and he was friendly and accessible,
That's good.
and I mean, like, we talked to him for like 10 minutes, and his wife
Everything
was
Ian says
there.
is true.
And
Yep.
his wife was,
There.
she was interested and engaged in talking to us. I mean, they both seemed
They both were great.
very, very passionate.
There is
Disney
no
fans.
smoke being blown here.
Oh, no.
Absolutely. They were genuinely good people. And I think both of us kind of walked away feeling like, well, if the parks are in Jeff's hands, then
Yeah, they're in
maybe
good.
that things are going to get back to how Walt wants the parks.
If nothing else, I'm confident that there is someone in charge of the parks advocating with senior management for doing things the right way. And that's really all that you can ask
Good guy.
Yeah.
of the
Really good
leadership
guy.
there.
And we found out he had a hand
Oh,
in
yeah.
the
This is a good story.
Castle Suite. He actually was
right.
one of the guys that was charged with developing that. And initially, they came to him and said, we want to do this. And he said, here's a 1-inch file about how we've tried to do this in the past. And they were like, well, get it done. And he was the guy to get it done. And again, Ian stayed there. So we can both vouch, and we've both been in there, how amazing it was and what a great job and attention to detail he did. So again, it just that, even hearing that made me feel even better too. Like, oh yeah, he was in charge of that. Okay. Like, yeah, some real cool stuff. All right. So we've got in our 7 minutes left, Sam, what else did we?
We saw something that will never happen again. And I have a picture of it there.
Okay.
Which is we saw the preview of Happily Ever After.
Happily Ever.
Which is coming back to Walt Disney World's Magic Kingdom. And I think we all know that. But what we saw was the only time ever that Happily Ever After is going to play with the 50th logo on the castle.
Sam,
the 50th logo is coming down.
I leave it to you to actually pull that kind of.
It's true though, because
Deep Cuts brought to you by Sam.
Happily Ever After returns on April the 3rd, the day before Tron officially opens, and the end of the 50th anniversary celebration that started in 2021.
Right.
Ends on March the 31st, 2023. So that 50th is coming down. We're already seeing parks from throughout the park, pictures from throughout the park of 50th anniversary decorations that are being removed. So we know that that's going away, and the castle's going to get the clock back that's been there for quite some time.
Yeah, and just to mention and to follow up on that, if you are curious to see that production again, we did stream it live. It is sitting on our Facebook page, and you can see it right here.
There you go.
Yeah. So if you want to kind of just relive the magic,
it's cool. I loved it. That now they enhanced it, bringing it back.
Yes, which is a cool thing, right? Tell them, Sam.
They added a couple of things. Number one, we noticed some new projections on the expanded castle turrets that we don't believe were there previously. And we also know that Enchantment brought with it projections on Main Street USA. So they've added those Main Street USA projections to Happily Ever After, which will be new. There were a couple of things that we learned, John and Ian, while we listened to one of the Imagineers talk about Happily Ever After. One of the centerpieces of the show is the castle itself. In fact, I thought it was interesting. He commented that the castle goes through the same hero's journey that all of the characters go through. And when the castle talks to you in the middle, never had a friend like me, one of those things. It's pretty cool. And they're trying to make the castle be one of the characters. It is still the center point of the experience, but they're expanding projections down Main Street to make more people feel like they're part of that central
But
story.
one cool thing that he did mention, though, they also said they were very careful not to take away from the focus of the show by expanding that
That's
all the way
exactly
down Main Street. So it will add to the show, but it won't be the focus. The focus is still the castle.
the
The
castle.
empathy is
It
with
just
the castle.
makes it in general sort of more immersive, right? Like if you're
Right.
down on Main
Yeah, it's
Street
cool.
anyway, like
Sucks
yeah,
you
the
in,
focus is
right?
still the castle, but it's still, now you're just sort of immersed in that show as opposed to
I love being on Main Street for the shows where they have the projections and they have that as part of the show. I like you said, I feel like it just draws you in deeper into the show as a result. So
Yeah, this was definitely one case where I felt extremely fortunate to be where we were. Like we were right in front of the castle. There were
front.
not massive crowds because I actually remarked to it may have been Michelle from Main Street
Yep.
Mouse that I was talking to. I said, I live 7 miles from Magic Kingdom, and I've seen the Magic Kingdom fireworks once since I moved here because it's just so crowded. I mean, it's just so crowded.
We had nobody in front of us for about
Yeah.
20 feet.
That's not normal. Let's be honest.
It is.
No. That's
That
yeah.
will
That's
never
what
be
I mean.
normal.
Again,
So,
we
the
talked
reason
about
I mentioned
those
that is
moments, right?
I don't know when the next time will be that I'll go see Happily Ever After, and it is phenomenal. I would just love the show. Absolutely
Great show.
It's just if you walk out of there, if you're a real Disney fan, and you walk out of there not sort of going like this a little bit, I don't know. You may need to have your pulse checked because it definitely grabs you and
Almost
gives
like
you a
I
little-
felt during the bicentennial, Ian.
I don't know. I wasn't old enough to remember that like you are, John.
I was totally there.
I didn't. Enchantment. I didn't think it was the worst.
No, I didn't either. I actually agree with you, Sam. I didn't hate Enchantment like some people did.
Not Enchantment. Now, Harmonious, different story.
Yeah.
Right.
But Enchantment, I didn't hate it, but I also love Happily Ever After. But I'm also
me
a fan. I thought Wishes was great. I mean, you just
See, I loved Wishes.
you put fireworks behind the castle. I mean, imagine Wishes with projections. There's just so many ways to go, but Happily Ever After being back is.
Hey, Chris, I'm pretty sure my face was there before this week.
What is it?
He said my face is pinned on the Disney Security Department's bulletin board, but I think it was already there. If they listen to this podcast, it certainly was.
No, we crank because we care. It's okay.
They know that.
What does Amanda say? Unrelated to Tron, Disney 100. Oh yeah, the Disney 100 exhibition at the Franklin Institute. Saw that somebody from INTERCOT.
Yeah, we'll get Justin on, and Justin and Don went.
We got somebody in Philly covering it. That's awesome.
Yes, indeed. Actually, there was some talk from some of our members about doing a old-fashioned INTERCOT meet over there.
Yeah, let me know when that happens. I might be in for that. It's not that far from me.
Well, that's true because you're in Bitburg.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cool. Oh, good, man. So yeah, and this was awesome. And then the next day we got to try some barbecue, but that's probably your next show, dude.
Yeah,
I mean, us got to try some barbecue.
I mean, the reality is, I did not get to try some barbecue. You got to try some barbecue, but we were there and we got to at least see the restaurant and kind of where it was going to be and stuff like that. In fact, there's a interview that we have. Let me see if I can bring it up here on the site. Where we go over some of the food choices and things that are coming. I think the restaurant opens in the next few days?
Tomorrow.
Yeah.
No, but I not tomorrow, the 23rd. It's very soon.
Yeah, very soon. Next few days. And looks good. I have to agree with some of the critics out there. There's like, where's Pizza Planet?
Well, there is.
He's not going to build.
And they closed it.
Backyard.
Come on.
He's not building in his backyard. Remember, the story is Woody went to, the story is Andy went to a rodeo with his family. He loved it. They gave him a rodeo play set, and they brought the play set back and set it up in his backyard and turned it into the barbecue. That's the storyline, right?
Right. I mean, it looks good.
It was good.
You had a little bit of that.
I was able to try a little bit. We did it at Sam Eats because John's not here. I'll get you that video later.
I did not do a John Tries during this press event, which was sad. but we really didn't. We didn't. I mean, in the area of Tron and such, we really didn't get a chance to try anything new. So
here's the way I put it. The over in Magic Kingdom at the Liberty Tree Tavern, that's Thanksgiving dinner every day,
right.
right? That's what it is. This is your classic 4th of July, Memorial Day picnic in the backyard where you got the potato salad and the coleslaw and the baked beans and then no burgers or hot dogs, but you got the ribs and the brisket and things like that. And that's really what this felt
So
like.
is it pretty much, because it looked very similar to the menu at the American Adventure? Is it similar to that?
Similar smoked. In fact, they mentioned that they use that as their test kitchen before they open to do some of the
Okay.
smoking, and they're doing all of that on site.
Because I liked that, and I still like that.
It's very much like that. The sauces aren't quite the same, and there's some
Okay.
interesting plant-based options. It's interesting because you hear Andy comes by every once in a while looking for something,
Right.
and all of the employees will freeze when he comes by, and they won't move because your toys. Unless you're a wind-up toy, because any waiter that's carrying something's a wind-up toy, and they can keep going until they get to their destination. But anyway, there was an explanation behind all of it. But it was kind of cool the way they pulled it together, and in true Disney fashion, there is backstory. There are pieces of play sets that you will recognize all over that place.
Yep. So if you're curious about what it looks like, be sure and head on over there. We talked to an Imagineer as part of the press event, and we got some of the explanation as to why things look the way they do, and then of course we talked with food and beverage and about the menu that was there. On the Tron side of things, we talked to Mel in the PhotoPass area.
Great PhotoPass stuff.
Which, if you thought you knew everything about PhotoPass, you don't. There was some really cool. The one thing that we didn't mention, that the PhotoPass actually takes photos from both sides of the car, so there are no bad pictures. So
That's
you're
right.
not going to have somebody impeding you in front of your picture, and also they draw you out of the scene and into a car, so it's just you in one of them. Plus, the full video, they actually slow it down so that you get a good view of your expressions as the cars are going by. So cool interview with them. I've still got an interview to post with some Disney Imagineers that worked in lighting control and also project management, which is actually a really cool interview. Saw some of the same folks that brought Galaxy's Edge to life, and it was really neat connecting with them again. And then trying to think what else. Oh, what's new and what's next, and of course the ride itself. So all that stuff is up on INTERCOT social channels, and be sure and check out Sam's Disney Diary as well for different interviews. What happens a lot of times in these kind of press events is we might not have the same person
go different places
about the same sort of things. So
and that's
it's
what's cool.
it's not the same interview. So if you're worried about overlap or whatever, pretty much you're not going to get the same person. Head on over and check out his stuff as well. And, check out Ian too. I don't know what theme. Anything to promote? I don't know.
No barbecue for you.
No.
Did you see the walkthrough of the barbecue that the Disney Parks blog had done there, John?
No, I didn't.
It's actually really good because there's nobody in the place.
No, I've been sleeping since I got home.
Yeah, it's a good idea.
I'm trying to recover.
It's not a bad idea. In fact,
from a week of being away from my home, my wife, my cat, my dog, and just sleeping in my own bed, which anybody who's traveled, I'm sure, understands that a little bit. And trying to recover my voice, which now
I understand, which we did not do any good to here in the last hour and a half. So thank you so much.
Yep.
For having me, guys. I appreciate it. I can't wait to see you down there again.
It was fantastic covering this.
Yes, thank you, John, for the opportunity. By the way, if I didn't say that when you were here, I should have.
No,
very much appreciated.
Well,
tag along.
the least I could do, Mr. Senior Imagineer, for being a part of.
I see that his title is
for
changing.
I think
I
you're
just keep changing my title.
you're probably 24 plus years, probably 24, because Ian came along like almost
99 was when I joined INTERCOT.
Okay, well then that would be 25, 24, 23.
24 years.
23 plus 1.
23 plus almost 24 years. Yeah.
Mhm.
So, yeah, and let that be a reminder.
It's a long time, by the way.
Yeah, our speaking of a long time, our travel agency partner, Magical Journeys, has been with us almost that long, and they are simply the best as far as booking your next Disney vacation. Be sure and contact Nancy and crew over there and give them a shout. Tell them INTERCOT sent you, and they'll take care of you like they've taken care of us. And thanks to, as Ian put it, not only the staff, but you, the folks who keep visiting our social media channels, our websites, etc., and keep us interested in bringing the magic to you. It has been a blast for the last 25 years. And Sam, thank you. Sam is always my go-to partner for these events. He's a fantastic camera guy. He brings his A game all the time.
Always, baby. Let's go.
Comments. You're fantastic. I value our friendship, and I thank you for being a part of INTERCOT as well.
Thanks for having me, sir.
Yep.
We'll see you soon.
Yeah, it's great seeing you again. Take care, guys.
Yep. So for Ian and Sam, I am still John. This is the INTERCOT Insider Podcast, celebrating almost, I think about almost like 15 years, I think, of being online. We are your OG Disney fan site. We're using that. I'm claiming it, trademarking it, and look for it to be on t-shirts soon.
Congaloosh.
So, yeah, indeed. Thanks, everybody, for
All right,
tuning in.
gents. Have a great night.
Bye
care.
now.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.